Are you still looking for the one, your soulmate, the one to complete you like Jerry Maguire found? Today's show, the Stand Yourself coaching show, we are going to talk to somebody who specializes in just that, the S word, soulmate. Welcome, everybody. My name is Richard Francois. This is the Astound Yourself dating show. And with me, as usual, tonight is my illustrious co hostess, and your name is?
My name is Elaine Saunders, and I am your illustrative co-host here every week on Astound Yourself Dating. Welcome to the show.
Elaine. How long have I been
Welcome.
calling you illustrious? You still can't say the word. We need to have a
I'm
little
never
coaching
going to learn it.
session.
You know what? I've been bad. I'm going to sit and write it like 20 times and then
There
say
you
it.
go. This is going to be your assignment, your punishment. Write illustrious 20 times until you get it right.
Illustrious. Is it
That's right.
illustrious? Us.
Us, exactly. Illustrious us.
We be illustrious.
That's it. As you can see, we are all serious here on the Astound Yourself Dating Show. It's nothing but business, and we do not have a good time. So if that's your kind of show, stick around. Stick around. Elaine, you have a special guest for us this evening. Tell us how you met this guest, and tell us a bit about her before we bring her on.
Okay, so my friend Karen Campbell, she's an awesome, wonderful grief coach. Her and I do some Zoom events on the weekends and different times. And she knows what, I do for work. She knows I'm a matchmaker. And she said to me, I absolutely had to meet her friend Pamela. And she said, I can't wait for you to meet her. You're going to love her. She's going to be an amazing guest on your show. So that's how I met Pamela. It was a few weeks back, and here she is. Hi, Pamela.
Hello.
How do we say your last name? And I apologize for this.
Well, Dussault.
Dussault. Okay. Like Dussault, not do pepper.
Right. Exactly.
How I remember things.
Oh my gosh, Elaine. Do I have to kick you out of the show? That's awesome. Do pepper.
Whatever works. Whatever helps is fine.
This is great.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you so much. So we're really excited to have you on. And I think the main reason why is the soulmates that I know you have this great event coming up, and it's super, super affordable. But I really want to know how you got into this realm and how I know how I found you, but how did you find your calling?
Right. Well, like I'm sure many different people had found their calling through their own experiences, right? And so I had gone through some pretty tumultuous experiences in terms of my relationship and so on and so forth. And I had met a soulmate, and but it wasn't working out. So long story short, there was a lot of pain involved, but through that pain, there was a lot of growth. And I discovered that I could have conversations with the divine. I actually had a divine intervention experience with an angel. And from there, I just sort of opened up and was able to, like I say, communicate and learn and get messages and heal and move on. And then from there I just started helping other people. It just happened very naturally. It sort of fell into my lap. People were talking to me about their experiences, which were almost exactly what I had been through, and that's really how I got my start. Became my passion and certainly was my calling.
So this is interesting because I think everybody has their own idea of what a soulmate is or what a soulmate means. And I heard you say you had a relationship with a soulmate that wasn't working. So maybe you could explain a little bit about that. How does that work? People always think soulmate means perfection.
Well, no, it absolutely is not. In fact, half the time when we meet our soulmate, they're really just a catalyst for us to grow, to maybe to heal, to learn, to do certain things that, in a bigger picture, are our purpose, but also to really do some soul searching to discover who we are. Like, who are we, right? Why are we here?
Right.
Those big esoterical questions.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not always our forever person, and they can be very difficult relationships.
So it could be somebody
In other words,
Go ahead, Richard. I'm sorry.
the way I'm hearing what you're saying, which sounds like such good news to me, Pamela, is rather than the soulmate being the perfect fitting sweater that's going to keep you warm forever and ever, it's more like a fire under your butt.
Yes. Not all the time, okay, but much of the time. And it's one of those things that if you didn't have such a strong connection, that it wouldn't really, it maybe would motivate you, but not in the same way. It's kind of like you need such a catalyst that's going to almost, it sounds bad, but kind of tear you apart so you can come back together again whole, in the right way, in the way that you're meant to be. And so, yes, very much so, lighting a fire. Yeah. And it works both ways. You're doing the same with them as well.
Interesting.
An opportunity to help each other grow. And it's not a matter of the soulmate, it's a matter of the soulmate for now.
Yes. And that's the good news, is that they will often lead you eventually lead you to the soulmate, the one that it's not the perfect sweater. It's not perfect, but you still can have a deep connection, and you can work together, and it can be incredibly healthy. And everything that you would want it to be, that the type of thing that we're looking for in a relationship. So the one that wasn't right can eventually lead you to the one that is right.
So if I'm hearing you right, a soulmate is not somebody that necessarily you had some sort of a past life connection with, or
Yes.
something like that, or
actually you do.
Okay. Is that always the case, or is that not always the case?
It's 9 out of 10 times it's the case.
So people come rolling into your life over and over and over again.
Well, it's over and over and over again, but when you meet a soulmate, you have this instant connection and sensation that you can't explain of knowing this person from before.
Yeah, it's something you can't shake.
You can't shake it. If you haven't had that experience, it's very hard for people to kind of buy into and understand, but it is something that takes hold. Unless
you've had that experience. So you had that experience. Mm-hmm. Well, you talk of angels, so I think everybody has a definition, like what's an angel to you? Like I had a dream, for example. Was that an angel in my dream? I don't know, but I had a dream about my late husband and the house that I'm living in now, and it was explicitly the house. Before I even met him, I saw this house in my dream. And then a year or so later, after we met and we started dating, we took a trip from where we lived in Las Vegas to his hometown in Nashua. And we pulled up in front of the house and I saw this house. And I looked and my eyes were like, I've seen this house. I've been in this house. It was in my dream. It was in my life before I even met him. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's inexplicable. That's divine. That's something that's divine. There's no explanation for that. That's supernatural.
Right. It is supernatural. Precisely.
One other thing that I heard, Pamela, when you were speaking about the soulmate and the prior life connection is that it's not as we imagine purely a romantic connection. a soulmate could be somebody with whom you had a strong connection, but it doesn't have to be that it was romantic or sexual or any of that from that previous life. It could have been a strong friendship, somebody who had your back, somebody that you experienced difficulty with, that you survived something important together. It sounds like it could be any and all of that. Could it also be somebody that was not human? Could it have been an animal that was your previous life that helped you through a journey?
Absolutely. We have so many soulmates. They're not always romantic, but along those lines, we can have more than one soulmate that is romantic in a lifetime. But we have children are our soulmates, parents, sisters, co-workers, friends, certainly animals and pets. You look into their eyes and you just kind of know that you are supposed to be together, and there's just this incredible connection. So yeah.
Well, I'm sure we have
Funny,
other topics.
I'm sorry. As soon as you said animals, my dog came walking in like, hello.
She's like, here I am, claiming my spot as your soulmate.
Yeah, I'm like, who's talking to you, Rev?
That's funny. That is funny. I know we have other topics to discuss besides the soulmate question, and I had one final thought there. It's escaped me, so fine. Let's move on. Let's not try to belabor the topic, but this is very interesting. This is not what I normally think of when I think of soulmates. So thank you for broadening my and hopefully some of our viewers' horizons. We have comments and some questions that we want to say hello to some of the people who are watching. Jamie said hello to us at the beginning of the show, so hello to you, Jamie.
And
We also,
Rosa.
of course, have Rosa. Jamie and Rosa are both regulars on our show. They contribute to the comments, they ask questions, and they view the show. Carla, hi Carla, thank you for watching the show and for helping us make the show happen behind the scenes. Renee has a question for us. Thank you for your question, Renee. Renee's question is, can you eventually end up with a prior soulmate in the future? So I think Renee's question is, somebody from a life previous to this one was a soulmate, and can you end up with that person in a life after this one as a soulmate again? What do you think, Pamela?
Yes, you can. You can. It all depends on whether or not there's unfinished business. So
unfinished business, okay.
Right. Sometimes there are reasons that you're coming together, and I had mentioned some of them in the beginning of the show, to grow, to make choices, sometimes based in love instead of in fear, learn lessons, right? There are a lot of different reasons that were brought together, and if any of those has not been either answered or addressed or resolved, then there is a chance that they will show up in a future lifetime for you to do that with. And that gets into a lot of other bits of information about how soulmates even happen, because prior to coming into the world, into life, our souls do make contracts or agreements to do these kinds of things. So that's why they will most likely come back. You will agree to do that, to come back in another lifetime to, finally finish that business.
Thank you. And Renee, as you were responding, commented that she meant this lifetime, and I think your response still applies the same way, whether it be same lifetime, different lifetimes. It's possible that you can reconvene with a soulmate again, a couple of more than once in the same lifetime.
Right, it can happen in the same lifetime. It really depends on if there is unfinished business between you two.
All
Thank you.
right.
Elaine, do you want to take Jamie's comment?
Yes. Yeah. Jamie has a question or a comment, it looks like. If you have a friend since high school and they are like a soulmate, but you're afraid to go into it, you're in a relationship? Oh, I see. So he's afraid to lose a friendship with his friends. It seems like a soulmate relationship, but I guess he has a fear. Can you just confirm that for me? Say yes or no, Jamie. You're afraid to make it go into more than a friendship because you don't want to lose the friendship. Is that what you're trying to say?
That sounds
Jamie,
pretty
I'm trying to interpret this question. If you have a friend since high school and they like a soulmate, but you afraid to go into, I'm sorry, it's chopped up, and I'm not getting it. I'm not getting.
Yeah, I think I understand. Go ahead, Pamela. Pamela
Yeah.
seems to have a.
No, yeah,
Okay, yes, I got it right. He said yes. Thank you, Jamie. I want to make sure I was getting his question right. Thank you.
If just because you know that they're your soulmate, and you have this great connection with them, but you're very happy with the friendship, there's no need to have to go into it, romantically with them. However, and this can often happen, if you're feeling like there's an intense pull to go into a romantic relationship with them, in other words, you're desiring that with them, then there's probably, something going on. There's definitely some kind of catalyst energy that needs to, be addressed and looked at, like what is the lesson here, or what is this inciting in you to grow, or how is it inciting you to grow, and and maybe heal certain things that it's time to heal.
Makes sense. So, speaking of healing, we talked a little bit before we came on the show about your practice and the types of things that you help your clients with. As a psycho-spiritual counselor, I've never heard of that terminology, psycho-spiritual counseling. Can you tell us what does that mean, and what types of obstacles or blocks do you help your clients get past?
Right.
As a specialty.
So the psycho, meaning psychological, it's just short for that. So we're looking at things that are kind of typical blocks with people who are wanting to heal or wanting to grow or create a relationship, or even heal a relationship. And things like codependency, things like they call it trauma bonding now. All sorts of healing buzzwords that are out there, working with narcissists, working with emotional abuse and manipulation, right? So these are pretty typical blocks or issues that need healing. So I help them through that, but at the same time, I do it in a very spiritual form, meaning that not only intuitively, but meaning that I'm able to sort of back up and look at the bigger picture of what is their life path or their life purpose supposed to be. Who are they supposed to be? Again, these big esoterical questions, and to help them just become who they're meant to be in this lifetime and move along their purpose at the same time. Okay, right. So we're working on two different things, but in one big form.
Interesting. So what are some of the steps, the actual steps that you might advise somebody who has some of these blocks or obstacles?
Right.
Like on a spiritual level, do you do meditation? Tell us about your methods? and what types of things you apply to those types of issues.
So my methods, other than more talk therapy, and that would include intuitive guidance. You know, as you know, I already know how to communicate with angels and the divine. What I also do is energy work. I'm actually a shamanic practitioner, and I have other types of energy healing in my background, and I'm able to kind of help clear their energy of those blocks, as well as, you know, doing the talk kind of therapy work. So the blocks that, you know, we already discussed would be something that we would start with in terms of clearing that. You know, clearing what is in the way is always number one. You have to do that, just like you're, you know, you want to have new furniture, you have to clear out the old furniture, right? So it's as simple as that. And helping them set their priorities about what it is that they really want. And sometimes it's not always in the person that they're looking for, but in the relationship. And the reason why I have them look at the relationship is because then that helps them to gauge against what it is that they also need to do to meet that goal, or that desire for that relationship. So that's usually the second step. And then just you know, doing things like forgiveness, letting go of the past, and I do, you know, meditation work with them for that. Certainly self-love, that's such a huge part of it, you know, because if they really want to bring in the right soulmate, they're going to need to make sure that they do love themselves unconditionally and accept themselves. It's really all about becoming whole. And the right soulmate, you have two whole people that come together. And that's really what the goal is. So yeah, that would probably be the final step.
Okay. So you and I spoke about this. It's a workshop that you offer. And if I read it right, it's kind of like a go at your own pace type of situation where the training, can you kind of elaborate on that just to let everybody know what it is that you offer and how that could help them?
Yeah.
The title of it is Transforming, or the Art of Forging True Soulmate Relationships. Is that right? Did I have that right?
That's right. That's right. So there are 7 modules in this course, and it is a go at your own pace course. And each module has video instruction and also some written instruction to help them along. And it starts with you know, clarifying their true soul desires, looking at again, consulting with their past self. You know, looking at the choices that they made in the past and how they can change that, and also how they can meet their own ideals, making sure that they match those ideals for the relationship. Finding their higher self, or their, you know, their guidance. So I do believe in bringing in the spiritual aspect of it as well, because as it worked for me, you know, angels, and there's the unseen around us that I think is always conspiring on our behalf and wants us to succeed. So getting that in there. Clearing the energy. We talked about the energy work. So there's a recording there, meditation journey to help them to do that. Looking at their fears and, you know, how to confront those fears. How to start to trust themselves, you know, again, in moving forward and in coming into that kind of love relationship. And then at the end, we kind of do a sort of a big ceremony. It's kind of a ritual And it's sort of like you're invoking that. You're saying, okay, universe, I've done this. I've come through it this far. I'm ready. And you make that statement in kind of a celebratory way.
So when you say celebratory, is it like lighting candles or burning incense or?
Sure, lighting candles, burning incense. Taking that time. You can do it certainly on like a full moon if you want. It's really up to you, and it's really also about the invocation of calling them in, or just stating out to the universe that you're ready.
Interesting. Yeah. So it's interesting. What really struck me about what you were just covering right now is the clearing of the energy. The reason why it struck me is because recently I took a personal sabbatical, and I said I have to clear my energy. Literally just take a step back and just get in this little bubble and just not let anything or anybody affect me for a while, to try to get the energy that had been affecting me negatively, so that I can go into something new with a pure heart and a clean slate, if you will. So can you elaborate a little bit? Because I'm not sure if I'm clean and clear yet.
Yeah, well, no, you seem pretty clear to me right now. So
the screen. We'll have to talk after the show.
Yeah, right. So it is about that. It's sort of like how you just described it, but in this case, it's also about clearing those agreements and those soul contracts. So I had talked about the unfinished business, right?
Right.
And how before we come into this life, we kind of make the agreements with these other people, these other souls. And we don't have to always follow through. If it's getting too difficult and we want to move on, we have the agency to do that. Right? We have free will.
Okay. So this is interesting, because I work as a matchmaker, and the reason how Patty and I came together was I work with a lot of widowed people who've lost the love in their lives. And from a spiritual standpoint, a lot of the people that I work with feel a sense of guilt when they start dating again. So is this something I could recommend that they look into to clear that past the relationship with the soulmate that they lost on this earth?
Right. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. You again, you have free will.
Right.
And you can compassionately and in a loving, unconditionally loving way, clear that contract or that agreement that you're not going to move forward while you're here on this earth because they have passed. You can clear that up, and you can go ahead and move forward with that. So that's what this does, kind of on an energetic, spiritual level. Mm-hmm.
Right. So there's more than one soulmate. They're not all romantic.
Right.
You have to kind of make room for them.
Yeah, you do.
Clear your energy if you want that person to come in. And I don't know, what would you say the big takeaways would be for someone that comes to us and they're single and they're dating and they're frustrated and they think that, I think a lot of the problem is the people I meet, they think they're going to meet somebody and it's going to be love at first sight, sparks in the sky, fireworks, and that's going to indicate the soulmate. And if they don't feel this overwhelming at the first meeting, what do you tell people about that? Do you tell people they should be looking for that instant connection from the minute they meet, or do you develop a knowing after getting to know somebody that they're a soulmate? Do they grow on you, soulmates, or
like fungus?
Like a fungus?
What I know is that there are souls that have their first time here on earth. So even though we're talking about past lives and making agreements, prior to this life and everything, there are soulmates who have never had an experience or a meeting, and so this is the first time, and so what they wouldn't know
They wouldn't
each other
recognize
in that way. So yeah, absolutely, it can develop from there. But what I tell people is that the only way to true fulfillment is to make sure you're loving yourself, you're doing what you need, yourself, right? And from there, you can know, of course, your soul, your own soul, and that's how you can then know your soul's match.
Right. Makes sense. Can you believe, Richard, have we run out of time? We have, right?
30
Looks like
minutes and 53
I'm stunned.
seconds.
I'm stunned.
Just like that.
It's not fair.
Just like that.
Fair. Just not fair. Do we have time for one more question? Does anybody else have a question before we go? I thought I saw a question.
Let's take a look at the comments and make sure.
Oh, Vince,
Don't
he had
leave
something
anybody
to say. Okay.
Vince said a couple of things. Let's see here. I'm not sure what that means. I believe Soul read many lives. Mastered by Dr. Brian Weiss.
It's a book.
Do you know anything about that book?
I have not read that book, but I'm very well aware of it. I've heard excellent things about this book. So Many Lives, Many Masters is the name of the book.
Thank you. Thank you, Vince. Hi, Vince, and thank you.
Recommendation.
Okay. So I wanted to let everybody know where they can find you and where they can find your event if they want to sign up, because it's a course that you could take at your own pace. It's super affordable and it sounds like fun. I mean, you're going to learn something and get something from it. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I just wanted to say too that we have a Facebook group just for the students of the course. So we can share, I can answer questions if they have them, and they can share experiences with each other, and it's nice.
Okay, cool. So here's your website. We have it posted right now on the screen, passage to innerjoy.com. And we also have a form if anybody wants to fill out and has any more questions, or they want to talk privately, because this is a subject that not everybody would maybe feel open about talking with out in a public realm like this. Like I said, you and I might have to talk after the camera goes down. So there might be other people out there that feel the same way. So if there's anyone out there who'd like to talk more to Pamela, if you click this link, it takes you to a form. You could fill it out and we'll connect you to Pamela. Or myself or Richard. I mean, obviously we're here if you want to talk. Hi. So, thank you for coming on the show. It was great. Thank you
so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure. Really
we have more questions, but we'll have to bring you back for those.
Okay.
Awesome. So Elaine, why don't you go ahead and tell people where they can find you? What's your website? What's your Facebook page?
I have no idea. Just kidding.
Fine. I'll tell them. I know what you're doing. You're testing me to see if I know. I'll tell them. For those of you looking for Elaine, you can find her at Dynamic Introductions. That is a Facebook page. Or if you prefer not to be on Facebook, you can go to dynamicintroductions.com and find Elaine that way. See, I know your website.
I know. I could run, but I can't hide.
You can't, not anymore. You can't be a matchmaker and hide. Those two things don't go together. They just don't.
No.
And for those of you looking for me, thank you, Elaine. For those of you looking for me, you can find me here on the Astound Yourself dating page. You can also go to grichard360.com and find more of me there. If you have ever been called sweet, a nice guy, if you've ever been told don't ever change by a woman you'd rather be kissing, but who instead wants to give you hugs, if that's you, I've got a program just for you. It's called Attraction Dating. It is a masterclass starting in April. If you want to find out more about that, how you can get in on that action, shoot me a private message to the Astound Yourself Dating page, or just comment me, and we'll be in touch.
Wow. Thanks, everyone.
That's it for us this week, everybody. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for everybody who commented. Thank you for those who watched in silence and didn't comment. There's no wrong way to watch the Astound Yourself Dating show. The only wrong thing to do is to miss it. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you.